Welcome to the second video in our lesson on adding and subtracting integers using a number line. So here we'll look at subtracting. So in the first example, we have to subtract each expression using a number line. So in A, we have -5 subtract -2. Now the rules for subtracting using number lines are different than those for adding. So let's have a look. Here we need to mark the second integer on the number line, which is different when we are adding because we marked the first integer. So our second integer here is -2, so let's put a dot on our number line. Next, we'll draw an arrow to the first integer. Now our first integer is -5, so starting at -2, let's draw an arrow to -5 like this. Now to find our answer, we have to determine how many spaces there are from start to finish, noting the direction. So if I start at -2, I count 3 spaces to the left to get to -5, meaning our answer is -3. So let's do that again. So we'll start by marking -1 on the number line. Then we'll draw an arrow to +5. And then I'll count how many spaces there are between -1 and +5. So I count 6 spaces, and because I moved to the right, I have an answer of +6. Now one more example. I have +4 subtract +8. So I start at +8, and I draw an arrow to +4. So now I see that the arrow is 4 spaces long and it points to the left, so our answer is -4. Now for the next example, we got to figure out which subtraction equation is being modeled here. So it starts at -8 and goes to -1. Well, don't forget that the second integer is always where it starts, and where it ends up is always the first integer. So what we have is -1 subtract -8. Now let's count the spaces between -8 and +1, and that is 7. Because I moved to the right, it's positive. Now for B, where I end up is the first integer, so that's -4, and where I start is the second integer, so that's +6. So now if I count the spaces in between, I get -10. Be sure to practice what you just learned by completing the activities before moving on to the next section.